Hi. When I'm travelling, I usually take a pair of Anker Soundcore earbuds with me. And they're great for listening to music and that sort of thing. This isn't from a call, this is a sample. So let's just have a listen to what the microphones on the Anker Soundcore sound like. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes upon the second morning after Christmas, with the intention of wishing him the compliments of the season. He was lounging upon the sofa in a purple dressing gown, a pipe rack within his reach upon the right, and a pile of crumpled morning papers, evidently newly studied, near at hand. Okay, ignoring the fact that I'm not an audio book narrator, it's not very good, is it? Well, Alexander Graham Bell probably wouldn't be happy with the quality of that. It's okay for calls, it must be, because people can hear me. I'm sure there are better headset mics out there, but I'm also fairly confident that this one probably isn't the worst. This is just the nature of the sort of sound you get. So I got to thinking, what else could I use when I'm out and about? What can I use for listening to podcasts and a little bit of music, and also something that would be usable for calls? So I had a look round the house and found some USB-C earpods, AKG ones. Seem like they might be reasonable quality. Don't even know where they're from. They're not usable because one of the earpieces isn't working. But the mic works. Tried that out, and this is a sample of the microphone on the AKG. Sherlock Holmes, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes upon the second morning after Christmas, with the intention of wishing him the compliments of the season. He was lounging upon the sofa in a purple dressing gown, a pipe rack within his reach upon the right, and a pile of crumpled morning papers, evidently newly studied, near at hand. Beside the couch was a wooden chair, and on the angle of the back hung a very seedy and disreputable hard felt hat, much the worse for wear and cracked in several places. A lens and a forceps lying upon the seat of the chair suggested that the hat had been suspended in this manner for the purpose of examination. That, I think you'll agree, is far better than the headset mic. It's quite noisy because, unfortunately, the recording level was really quite low, and I've had to boost that up to bring it to a comparable level to the other microphones I'm testing here. But it's a lot clearer. It seems to cover the vocal range pretty well. It doesn't have that horrible sort of constrained quality that the earpods did. So that would be usable if both earpieces worked, which they don't. Then I also found, and I guess this is from a phone that we used to have, probably a long time ago, decades ago, a set of Sony wired earpods with a built-in mic. So I tried those, and this is what they sound like. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes upon the second morning after Christmas, with the intention of wishing him the compliments of the season. He was lounging upon the sofa in a purple dressing gown, a pipe rack within his reach upon the right, and a pile of crumpled morning papers, evidently newly studied, near at hand. Beside the couch was a wooden chair, and on the angle of the back hung a very seedy and disreputable hard felt hat, much the worse for wear, and cracked in several places. A lens and a forceps lying upon the seat of the chair suggested that the hat had been suspended in this manner for the purpose of examination. They're better than the earpods as well, but there's not much high frequency content there. They sound muffled and bassy and not very good quality. And they also recorded at a very low level. I was running them into the phone using a USB-C audio dongle, which I've used with my my gaming headset. And the The level on the gaming headset mic is fine, so it's not the audio dongle. It's just strange that both of these wired earpods, one USB-C and one 3.5mm jack, are very low in terms of volume, so they're both boosted and they're both noisy as a result. And then the obvious comparison is, well, what does the phone sound like? What do the mics on the phone sound like? And this is a Pixel 6a. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes upon the second morning after Christmas, with the intention of wishing him the compliments of the season. He was lounging upon the sofa in a purple dressing gown, a pipe rack within his reach upon the right, and a pile of crumpled morning papers, evidently newly studied, near at hand. Beside the couch was a wooden chair, and on the angle of the back hung a very seedy and disreputable hard felt hat, much the worse for wear, and cracked in several places. A lens and a forceps lying upon the seat of the chair suggested that the hat had been suspended in this manner for the purpose of examination. Now that's probably the best of the bunch. The only problem with the phone is, and I guess I was about 6 inches away from the mic with that, I wasn't trying to optimize the quality. It picks up the reverberation in the room, and I'm in quite a small room here, so it's not the best recording space, and it isn't, well, there's not much in the way of sound treatment, just a couple of sound blankets. Whilst it's okay, it's not perfect, and obviously if you're in a noisier environment and trying to take a call, you don't want to use the mics on the phone or have the sound blaring out so that everyone else can hear. So none of these are ideal, but the AKG headset mic is promising in that the audio isn't terribly bad, it's just there's lots of noise. You may have noticed that there are some effects here and they're disabled, that's why they're red. There's a compressor, this thing called Reafir, which is something that you get free with Reaper, and TDR Nova, which is an EQ plugin. And what I thought I'd do is to just try and improve the quality of that mic. You couldn't use this on a call, obviously, but if you want to record something for YouTube, say, would this be usable? So let's enable the plugins. Then actually I'm going to disable them again, so I'm going to enable them individually. Let's have a look at what Reafir does. So we're concentrating on the AKG mic, and let's just pick a sample of noise and show you Reafir, and we'll disable it. This is the noise. There's probably some breath in there. Let's pick something else. Probably some breath in there as well, but that's not so bad. So what you can do with Reafir is this. There's several modes here, so you can have it in EQ, gate, compressor, convolve, and subtract. So I'm going to use it in subtract mode. So if we click automatically build noise profile and then play the noise, you'll see down here that it's building up the noise profile. We're looking at the range of frequencies here, so most of the noise is concentrated down here between 0 and 1k, and then there's more noise going up to 6, 7k there. So now we've done that, you can hear it's reduced noise. You can't hear the noise anymore. We can unclick that because you don't want that on all the time, because that will treat everything as noise. That's fairly silent. Let's go back to the start and then see what that sounds like. Sherlock Holmes, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes on the second morning after Christmas. Much better, isn't it? Quite useful. Then I thought, well, could I improve the sound quality any by using an EQ? So here we have TDR Nova, and this is This is also free. It's from Tokyo Dawn Labs, and there's a free version and a paid version. And the paid version does a bit more than this, but the free version is really capable. So you can see there are 4 bands, high pass, low pass filter, and it's a dynamic EQ, so it has a built-in compressor expander should you want to use one. So what you're looking at, I haven't used the compressor expander, what you're looking at is what I think makes the mic sound a little bit better. Now this is all subjective, isn't it? So it'll depend on all sorts of things, not least on the headphones you're listening on, and you need to listen on headphones, I guess. So let's disable it, and then we'll play a sample. Sherlock Holmes, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes upon the second... Okay, hold that in your head. This is possibly the improved version. Sherlock Holmes, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. It's not a huge amount of difference. Mostly what I've done is just boosted the 2K region a bit, because that's associated with clarity, and taken down the mid, so it takes out some of the boxiness. So I'll play it again and then enable and disable the plugin so you can hear the difference. Sherlock Holmes, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes upon the second morning after Christmas, with the intention of wishing him the compliments of the season. He was lounging upon the sofa in a purple dressing gown, a pipe rack within his reach upon the right, and a pile of crumpled morning papers, evidently newly studied, near at hand. Beside the couch was a wooden chair, and on the angle of the back hung a very seedy and disreputable hard felt hat, much the worse for wear and cracked in several places. A lens and a forceps lying upon the seat of the chair suggested that the hat had been suspended in this manner for the purpose of examination. Not a huge amount of difference, I don't think, but a little bit better. It's taken out some of the boxiness. I've left the low frequencies in to retain the voice resonance. So slightly improved, and I could enable the compressor as well. You can have a listen to that. Let's just get it up. Disabled at the moment. So Sherlock Holmes, The Adventure of the Blue Carbuncle by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. I had called upon my friend Sherlock Holmes upon the second morning after Christmas, with the intention of wishing him the compliments of the season. He was lounging upon the sofa in a purple dressing gown, a pipe rack within his reach upon the right, and a pile of crumpled morning papers, evidently newly studied, near at hand. Doesn't make a huge amount of difference, does it? It just evens things out a bit. So that's me playing with a few mics and coming to the conclusion that maybe a wired earpod, whatever you call them, is the answer, but not the ones I've got. The Apple ones get pretty well reviewed for their mic quality, so I might buy a pair of those. The USB versions at the moment are about 16 quid, which seems like a bargain. Surprised Apple sell anything for 16 quid. And so the questions there are, will it work with the Pixel 6a? And how does it compare with these mics? And will it have that same problem of recording at a very low level and therefore needing lots of gain? The other problem I have with these types of microphones and headsets in general is that when both earpieces are in, I can't hear my voice very well, because there's no real-time monitoring, which is what you would expect, and I can't cope with delayed monitoring. There is a fix for that, but I'll go into that some of the time, I think. I'll call it a fix. It amounts to buying extra gear, which costs more money, which is never a good idea, is it? So let's leave it at that for now. What do you think? Do you use these sort of things for calls? Sometimes I'm on calls with people and they're using, usually Apple, probably, and they tend to sound pretty good, and it saves having all the paraphernalia of a of a pair of headphones on your head and all that bulk. And I've even seen people using them for YouTube videos. And going by the quality I think I managed to achieve with the AKG headset, doesn't seem unreasonable. The only issue you've got is the length of the cable if you want to video yourself at the same time, if that's what you're doing, but that's not an issue for me. What do you think? Is this a good idea or a bad idea, worth pursuing? Did I manage to make the sound better or worse with my improvements? Let me know, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.